Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So last week I gave you an update on my full garden, but what I didn't do is I didn't give you a tour inside my greenhouses. So today what I'll do is I'll show you inside my greenhouses and what I'm doing to get the plants off to a good start in there. This is the DIY greenhouse, the big red one. Let's go and have a look inside here and see what we've got growing. What is it then?
A red house.
It's a red house, it's not a greenhouse. So as you know, that I like to keep my greenhouses for my most precious plants. What people normally grow in greenhouses, I grow outside. So things like cucumbers, things like tomatoes. So we've got all our tomatoes outside the greenhouse and they're doing really well. So we're getting loads of cherry tomatoes harvesting and our big tomatoes are starting to ripen up. We've had a few of them and more are on their way. But what's inside the greenhouse, come and have a look at this. In here, we've got loads and loads of chili plants. So this is the place of chili center. Now, if you come into here, some of them are a little bit behind where I'd normally expect them to be at this time of year. But there's others that are producing, and we even had our first chili pick today. So we got a nice few chilies today. So that's a concini pepper, and they're actually sweet pepper. So I've grown those specifically for my daughter, so she likes sweet peppers to munch on. And there's some green chilies there coming on, absolutely beautiful. Yes, that's actually an overwintered plant. So down here we've got loads of chilies into the ground. So we've got loads of naga plants here. Now this one in particular has been attacked a little bit by slugs, and this area here is always a little bit not so hit and miss because it's quite sodden down here. So this spot of the garden has a really high water table, so things in that corner tend to struggle a little bit because of how wet they get. But as we move down the garden, you can see the plants getting progressively bigger and doing a lot better. This window box has got a couple of chilies in there, and they'd be normally growing outside. But because of the weather that we're having, what I've been doing today is I've been bringing everything into the greenhouse while we've got a bit of space in here, just to give it that little bit of protection. We've got nagas in pots. Look, even in these small plants, right, even these small planters, you're still going to get, these are about to start flowering, so you're still going to get harvests off them. So even in these little planters, you can still get some good chilies growing. Now,
Papa, is this ready to pick?
no. This is one of the plants that I really like. It's my snake gourd. So look at that, absolutely beauty.
It's a snake.
We've had a couple of those picked already. That's a really nice one coming. We're going to tidy this up a little bit because there's a few shoots that are climbing that way. There's a shoot. So let's tie these in. Nice little present from my wife. She got me a ball of twine. So let's just cut a few lengths, ready for ties. What I want to do is I want to try and spread this mess out as much as possible so I can get it climbing across here and we get snake gourds hanging down from on top of us. And a couple of years ago I had a plant where as soon as you walked into the greenhouse you just had loads of snake gourds just hanging down. It was absolutely amazing when you saw that. It was the best year of snake gourds I've ever had. This year looks to be okay as well. And I tend to tie these in a figure of 8 knot. So it just helps with the rubbing on the plant. The thing about things like snake gourds and a lot of gourds is they don't grow off the main runner. So they tend to grow off secondary and tertiary runners. So if you snap that end, that's not actually a bad thing for these plants because it'll send out loads of side runners. So how you typically on a cucumber rip off any suckers, on these you won't, because without the suckers you won't get the fruit. So look, that's growing off a sucker, or what would normally be referred to as a sucker. So it's not, you can't treat it in the same way. It's not quite reaching in the direction I want it to go. It's just a little bit too short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a little noose around his head. Not too tight, just enough to encourage him. And then tie a noose around here. If you come into the rest of the greenhouse, we've got progressively more and more things, more activity happening. We've got some really nice flower set on this chili plant. Now this is a hot wax type pepper, so that's a nice one there. There's a green chilli at the back, and we're getting lots of chilli set. There's a naga here, and we're starting to get flowers, so not long before we have flowers. Here's another overwintered plant, which is a little bit disappointing because this is a chocolate habanero. Well, I would have expected it to do something a little bit earlier. It's starting to flower now, but at least it's an overwintered plant, and we're getting good amount of flowers on it. So hopefully we'll have some good chocolate habaneros off there soon. More naga. See, everywhere you look, it's just a naga central. So we've got naga there and naga there. That one's a little bit slower, but there's a naga there. So here's an overwintered plant. We need to give it a little tidy because there's other leaves that have fallen onto it. It needs some water actually, that's why it's struggling a bit. But it's an overwintered naga, and you can see the naga set already. So I'm looking forward to this plant producing really well. It looks a little bit tired, and I think because it's in the corner, it's not getting the water that it needs. So what I'll do with that is we'll come in and give it a good water and a good feed. So these concini peppers, they'll start ripening up pretty soon, and we'll get loads of sweet peppers from my daughter. She'll be loving them. More naga down here. I mean, some of the nagas have done better than the another type of green chili. So yes, looking very nice. Now this is a chili plant called Onza. It's actually a black coloured pepper, but so far no sign of any flowers. And one thing that we've got in all of my chili pots is spinach. We've got or chard. When I was harvesting my compost, I knocked a batch of spinach in there, or chard seeds, and now I've got chard sprouting everywhere. So in every pot I've got chard, which is a nice problem to have, I guess. And look how pretty these flowers are, absolutely beautiful. What a vivid pink colour. I really like that pink, purple, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so we've got hyacinth beans coming on, and these are all from saved seed. So the first thing that we do when it comes to these kind of plants is we make sure that we've got enough seed for next year. So one of the things that my mum did was the first few hyacinth beans that were set, we got she's let them go to seed, and she's drying them out, and then we've got a few seeds for next year, and we'll save a few more seeds, and that way we know which plant's going to produce well. So whenever we get good production off a plant, we make sure we save plenty of seeds from them. Like I was talking about on my live stream last night, seed saving is a really important task, and it's a really important skill that we all should learn, because without it, yeah, the way things are going, I think people will struggle. See, over here I've got more more hyacinth beans, so we've got loads of hyacinth beans set in here. So what I'm going to do is all of these shoots that are reaching for the sky, I'm going to just try and encourage them to come down a little bit and grow this way. Come this way, you. And I had loads of aphid problems in here, but now that the wasps are out to play, we can relax a little bit. Okay, so these predatory wasps are coming in here, and they're doing us a great job in terms of keeping aphids under control. So all of these leaves and things that are touching the glass, because get them away from the glass, because they're the things that cause rot. You know, whenever you get things reaching for the glass, make sure that you're moving them away. I know this is plastic, but same thing. These are what's known as yard-long beans, or lubi. So we've had a couple of beans that we've harvested, so it'll grow at least a couple of feet long. And you can see them here, they're coming on really nice. And we've done the same thing with these, is we've saved some seed. So it's looking quite good in here. It looked a little bit slow, I was getting a bit worried, I was panicking a little bit. So back here we've got a couple of really nice plants. So this is a Jaralembu from Bangladesh, or a citron. It's absolutely beautiful. You know, if we ever manage to grow them, then that's when I'll be really impressed with myself. And another plant over there, just a normal yellow lemon. You can come in and give these a little bit of a prune. So where you've got a lot of leaf matter in the centre, just come in and open up some of the centre, just to allow airflow in. So what I'm doing, just taking out some of these buggy leaves in the center. You can end up with a lot of jumble in the middle, and you just want to open that up and clean it a little bit. Also look around the bottom of the plant. Treat these very much like tomatoes, so anything that's touching, coming close to the ground, that's going to end up with soil splash on it. See, the plant itself doesn't look drastically different, but I have just given it a little bit of breathing space. So I did have the chicks in here, and the chicks have caused quite a bit of damage. They've done even worse in my other greenhouse, so let's go and have a look at what they've done in there. So this is absolutely chocker at the moment. Yeah, it's absolutely rampacked in here. Now what I've done is all these pots, these were all outside, and today, after discussing the things on the live stream last night, I brought all these pots into the greenhouse because I just want to give it that little bit of protection, because it looks like it's still going to be wet for at least another couple of weeks. If you don't know about our live streams, we do one every Friday night where it's an opportunity for you to come and ask questions and have a chat with me. So come along to the live streams Friday night, 8 o'clock British time. Again, in here we've struggled a little bit because the chicks have been in here and they're getting a bit big and they're getting a bit rough, and you can see what they've done to this naga plant here. It's been absolutely destroyed. Look at that. It's just about regrowing its leaves now. But yeah, that's one of the things you get for keeping chickens. In here we've got more aubergines. So aubergines set here. We've got some really nice aubergines coming on. There's a couple of aubergine plants at the back that are setting fruit really nicely. There's another overwintered chili that's... I'm a bit disappointed in this one because look at the size of it. I'd have expected it to put on a lot more, I'd have expected it to flower a lot earlier. But it's starting to flower now, and the chili set's coming on, which is slightly earlier than the ones that are grown here, or the ones that I've started this year. If you're struggling for space, you don't need massive pots to grow chilies. Look, I've got some in these little, they're not even half a litre pots, but they're flowering. They're going to produce even in there. Even if I get a handful of chilies per plant, that's something that's, it's good for me. It's compost that I've made. It's resources that I've got, used here. This guy is going to stay up here, so that's a nice naga chili there. Some of the small pots will find some homes for there. There's a basket of fire up here. The thing about them is they stay nice and compact, and again that was outside, and that'll go back on the patio once we get a decent run of weather. Lab beans growing over there. The colour of those plants, those flowers, is absolutely beautiful. They're so vivid. The pink on them is just so vivid. I love it. We've got a hot wax in the greenhouse there that's coming on quite nice. This naga is one that I've grown. So these are my own seeds, the ones that we've saved and the ones that we're sort of breeding a strain for ourselves. Maybe one day we'll release it to the market if we ever get around to it. And there's another one there, absolutely beautiful plants, just coming on really nice. So over in that corner we've got a green chili. It's an Aji lemon actually, and again I would have expected that to start flowering. It's an overwintered plant, so I would have hoped that it would have already started flowering, but hopefully it'll start producing very soon. Aji lemons are one of the secret chilies that we use in our chili achar. So not the naga, but the chili achar. It's one of the ones that we use in there, and it gives it a nice little citrusy flavour. Look at this. I finally got peach set. This peach tree, it's one of the patio trees that we bought. Because peaches are really susceptible to peach leaf curl, and this is a dwarfing plant, I've kept it in the greenhouse, and yeah, we've got a nice little, it's coming on really nice actually. It's got a nice cluster of fruits on it, so let's see if we can get them to harvest. They're still quite hard at the moment. They feel like rocks, but come sort of September time, we should have some nice peaches. They might not be the ones as big as the ones in the shops, but yeah, I think they're going to do us quite nice. More lab beans growing up there, so I'll get them let's get them pulling down here and spreading out. Here are the beans, or the dwarf French beans that you saw me start a few weeks ago. I'm not going to plant these out yet. I'm going to wait for them to get a little bit bigger before I actually get them outside. But I've got some lettuces here that I planted, you know, I sowed at the start of this month in my what to sow in July video. We're going to prick these out and we're going to get them planted into our container garden. And if you look at this, look at the compost that I'm using. That's fresh straight out of my worm bin. I'm out of compost at the moment, so I'm just grabbing whatever I can from wherever I can. It's rough as anything. Look at that, it's rough as anything. So these are the Greek giants that Derek sent me. So Derek, I told you I started them a little bit late. So if we get something, we get something. If not, then we won't. But there's 3 or 4 plants here. We're going to use these to fill gaps in our bean arch. So I'm going to go and get them planted out today. So there it is. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for regular updates. If you want to support our channel, one of the best ways is by becoming a patron. I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.